Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Your 20s in the 2020s. I'm Manal, this is Zed. You might know us, you might not, but if you want to know us, you should see the earlier episodes anyways. Today we're trying to pivot our conversation a bit differently, and we're going to be talking about friendships. Who doesn't love friends?
Oh, there is so much lore.
Oh my god. Well, Zed and I had quite a strong friendship lore, I'd say.
Why don't we just start right there?
Okay, fair. We can talk about our past. Why not?
So,
Do you want to begin?
yeah, I got it. I got it. So basically, this is back in when I was like 19, I'd say, something like that.
18.
I was like
Yeah,
18
I
and
was
19.
17, turning 18. Yeah. So this was
Yeah.
like COVID
So
2020, 2021,
yeah, yeah.
2020.
This was actually me and Manal became friends right after COVID. So
Yeah.
I got invited to some fucking Halloween party by
God
this
knows why.
friend who is one of my oldest friends. I've known him
Mm,
for over a decade and a half now, Shaz.
yeah. Hi, Shaz.
So, so he's the one who invited me, and so I just went because it was right after COVID. Like everybody wanted to socialize, and this is a bit of a difficult period in my life because all of my friends had actually left. Most of my friends had left the country for university, and I unfortunately did not get the opportunity to go. So it was a bit of a transitionary period for me between friend groups and friendships and whatnot. I went to this party, and I that's where I met Manal. She actually did like half of my Halloween makeup slash costume slash look, whatever. I ended up really liking her best friend at the time. And we also ended up in like a 2.5 year relationship. Not me and Manal, me and her best friend, her
Yeah,
ex
yeah,
best.
yeah.
In a 2.5 year relationship after that, which was a total shit show on its own. But yeah, that's basically how me and Manal met. And then obviously
Yeah.
we grew really close very, very fast. And it got to the point pretty fast where we had a household relationship in the sense that her mother, her dad, her brother, I
Mm.
had some sort of a relationship with all of them, especially Mero auntie. And I still
She
love
loves
her
you.
to death.
She
Yeah, I still
loves
love
you.
her to death. She's the best. Um, one of my biggest supporters, like forever, always, for as long as I can remember. So yeah, we were really, really close. And then unfortunately, Manal actually left for uni
University.
to
Yeah.
go to London.
London,
I
as you
would
can
say,
tell, guys.
within a year of us becoming friends,
Yeah,
or
a
there and
year. Yeah,
about,
I'd say
right?
about a
Yeah,
year and something at most, but I think
yeah.
less.
And we were fine until fucking drama struck, and I was put in the very, very unfortunate position of having to choose between my best friend and the
Her
woman I was
boyfriend at the
dating at the
time.
time.
Yeah.
But
And he ended up basically ghosting me. So
yeah, yeah,
for a
I
long
did do
fucking
that
time.
for a very long time.
A really long time.
And we had not spoken for the longest time. And then a year after me and Manal had initially stopped speaking, she actually came to Karachi. And
Yeah.
that was a weird interaction. We just ended up having a sit down and we talked about stuff, and it just did not feel like home.
No,
It did
it was
not
quite
feel
an awkward
comfortable.
connection. And then at that point, at least for me, it kind of felt like, oh, well, I tried. It didn't really work. He sent me a message later being like, listen, this isn't going to work. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, bro, okay, I tried. I mean,
But
kudos
for
to Shah's
context,
back on this. He's the
I
one who
was still,
mediated this conversation. He was there
I
the
was
whole
still
time.
with
Yeah, he was still
girl
with
in
his ex at
question.
the time, and she was my ex best friend at the time.
Yeah.
So, like, still
Yes.
is. But so at that point, you're put in that kind of tricky situation where you don't know how to navigate it when two people who you're really close to cannot be even in the same
Cannot
room or space
coexist.
as each
Yeah,
other.
you
Like
just
they
can't.
can't. It just
Yeah.
won't happen. But
So
little do we know it, I was right. They broke up. He came back.
yeah, and
That's
then
about it.
I would give Manal all the credit for this, honestly, because she sort of randomly, literally completely randomly, just ended up reaching out to me. Was this 2025? Start of
2024.
2025? No,
2024,
it was
Core.
towards the end of 2024.
2024,
Okay,
December.
so
Yeah.
December 2024. I said Jan
Yeah.
2025. So, yeah, and she just reached out to me, and I remember the first conversation that we had after that sort of long hiatus was one of the most wholesome and fulfilling conversations we've ever had together. And that's sort of where we rekindled our friendship from. And then now we're here. So
Yeah.
that's the short of it, not the long of it, but that's the short of it.
Yeah, but during our time, even as friends before the whole thing happened or whatnot, Zed and I were tight, bro. Like that was just like constant. Like this man was over at my house, I was over at his house. We were chilling. Like COVID tha, like what else were you gonna do anyways? But like that friendship was built not on convenience or proximity. It was like the factor that we actually connected as people. So, and I feel like when at the end of the day you have such a strong connection, sometimes it's worth rekindling it. And
Yeah,
now look at
and I
us.
think it's the
Now we're
only
sitting and
reason.
talking every single fucking weekend.
Exactly. And I think it's the only reason why we sort of ended up reconnecting. I don't think
Mm,
we would have if it didn't mean as much as it did to the both of us, you know?
100%. And I feel like that's just when you think about friendships and stuff. And as you get older, you do look at those kind of moments more importantly, which is what exactly pushed me to reach out.
Mm.
Like it's those kind of solid, deep connections and those like deep rooted home like feelings that you have with a friend of yours is what keeps you going in like the world when everything is so busy and everything is so crazy all the time and you're
Yep.
navigating everything. You want to be around a person or a bunch of people who understand it and relate to you on more than a superficial level.
No, for sure. And I think the basis that you judge friendships on, it also really like changes over time. Like, how would you
100%.
say that even if you compare, let's say, this individual in question who was your best friend, um,
You must
your
not be named is
relationship,
crazy.
fucking Voldemort, bro. Um, lol, Jesus. God. You've been through several, at least more than one friendship in the sense that you call this particular person your closest friend, and then later on in life, when that fell through,
Mm,
you met more people or someone else, and
yeah.
then you cultivated that sort of connection with someone else,
Mm.
or probably even better. So, how is it different? How is it different for you?
Fair enough kind of question. I feel like at least the way I look at friendships is not everybody's meant to be in your life the whole time,
Forever, yeah.
but that aspect of when they are, especially if it's a deep enough connection, it's a good aspect most of the time. Like, I'm not saying that she wasn't a good friend for most of our friendship, right? So,
Um,
towards the end, things got rocky. We didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things and brought up a lot of issues that inherently we wouldn't have had if we probably communicated better or something. I don't know. Usually, then when that comes to a phase and you're like, okay, it can't even be rekindled, you've just kind of realized you've grown out of that person. Like it's kind of over. Their phase in your
yeah, of
life is just ended. But it doesn't mean that the memories that you have with them completely are a bad thing.
course, for
But
sure.
then there's also like, I feel like at the same time now I moved countries. I met people from all over. Some of my closest friends are from all different places. Like I have one of my friends from Saudi. One I live with a Indian girl. Like like we've got people
Hazara.
everywhere. Yeah, Zara. But navigating that as you're older is definitely a bit different. But then you're in the same kind of proximity basis as we were in school because you go to
Um,
university. You're all kind of studying the same thing. You're hanging out at the same places. You're going to the same kind of cafeteria, same kind of parties. So the connection aspect didn't really change that much for me until after I got out of university.
um,
I'd say when you're an adult, because there's not proximity anymore, your relationships inherently do change.
for sure. I think another thing that really ties into it, it's pretty interconnected with proximity, it's obligation.
Hmm.
Like you are obligated to be around these people, XYZ people, for
Yeah,
the
on
same
a
reason.
daily
You know,
basis, if
yeah,
not
you go to
even
uni,
more.
you go to class, you have assignments together, group projects, and then like you have to study together. And all of those things like really tie into it. And if I look at it from like the perspective of me personally, I mean, okay, I think I'm pretty ran through when it comes to friends.
It's okay,
because
bro.
I have been through so many different friend groups. I back in as compared to me back in O levels, I am still friends with only one person from everybody I knew back in O levels and A levels. There's just
Mm,
one dude, and like him and I are we're like brothers. Our friendship is never
mm.
going to change because we've been through so much. So then I was a different one in O levels. That didn't work out. Then it was a different one in A levels. And then right after A levels, like that transitionary period was when me and Manal were in the same friend group. And then out of that massive, I would say more than 10-person friend group, there's just mine and her friendship that survived. And I would
And then
say,
like two others that we talked
yeah,
to.
like, yeah, exactly, exactly. So shit changed. Like when people went to university, when people were not obligated to be around anymore. And then even
Mm-hmm.
when I was in university, I went through, it took me two separate friend groups to actually find the friend group of people that I have carried my relationships forward with
Yeah,
after
it's a
university.
trial and error moment for a lot of
Exactly,
people in a lot
100%.
of stages, and you do change as you're growing up. So obviously, sometimes if your friends are not matching that level, that change the same way that you are, then they do change basically.
For
But it
sure.
doesn't mean that those relationships you had during O levels and during A levels were not meaningful for the time being.
Exactly, exactly. It was just a period in your life where that was fulfilling, and then later it
It
stopped
just
being
stopped.
that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
So,
much.
yeah, ran through in friendship.
Yeah, but like like even though like whatever that friendship group were through which me and Zed met, even if we're not friends with the rest of them, because of them and because of that group, we all met like a bunch, and that's how me and Zed built our bond. So like
That,
that's like you. There's always like a positive. There's some kind of aspect that comes out of these kind of
yeah,
relations and
some
these
sort of
changes
silver
for sure.
lining.
Our school group, oh my god, so we would sit in this hallway during like break time in school in like O levels. There were 40 of us, 40 people I would talk to on a daily basis, every
Yeah,
day,
bro. Social
constantly.
butterfly, bro.
Like our school was
That's
big. So, like,
crazy.
we had a decent amount of kids. Just that. And then the second, whatever, COVID hit, or we all graduated, I'm still grateful to say that like I have a solid friend group from school. One of my friends is like a chuddy buddy. So I've known her since I was 8. Love her to bits, Zainab. But even the others like I've known since O levels. Like it's four of us basically. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like
So from 40 to 4.
yeah, yeah, pretty
Like,
much. Yeah.
and I think that's really apt because when I was like back in O levels or A levels, like it was so cool to know so many people.
Yeah,
But you
because
didn't
that's
really
how it
know
was.
them.
But that's like it's
But
like, oh
you didn't
yeah, the
really
last
know
few
them.
years, let's meet everybody, let's do all of this. But the deepness of those friendships, like you only figure out till later, because when proximity isn't there and obligation isn't there, that's when you kind of realize who's actually around.
For sure.
Like that group chat of like the 5 friends of mine, where it's been there since day one. But I have loads of group chats that I'm part of since COVID, but nobody talks on them anymore. Like
Bro, me and
they're
Manal have
just
like
dead.
15 group chats.
Yeah, with different people, every fucking group chat. But
Yeah.
it's just when that obligation is gone, like, and at least for us, we went through it through COVID. So it wasn't right after everyone leaves for university. It was the actual weird in between period because we couldn't meet a lot of people during that time, lockdown, etc. That's when you kind of realize like, who you were talking to on a daily basis or who you
Yeah.
weren't, because
Yeah.
over there's no obligation. And there were people who I probably spoke to on a daily basis who I thought I was close to, who just disappeared from my life during that aspect
Exactly. And
because
then
there's no
another thing,
obligation.
yeah. And then another thing that it's probably a little bit different for you as
Hmm.
compared to me, but like I started over in a new city after graduating.
Hmm.
Bro, it is so hard to make
It's
friends.
different. As
Oh
an
my
adult, it's hard,
God.
no?
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I have like in all of Islamabad, I had for the first year that I was here, I had two
Mm-hmm.
friends. Three friends. I had three friends. I forget
Yeah.
the third one every single time. I
It's okay.
had,
I mess up the numbers always. I love you
yeah.
guys. You all know who we're talking about
l-
anyways. It's okay.
Lol. I had like three friends. The person that I was closest to in that friend group, she sort of left, and we built like a lot of community, like picking each
Mm-hmm.
other up from the airport, uh, dropping each other's parents to the airport, having rituals, traditions, and then one of them left. The
Yeah.
one that I was closest to, she went back to Karachi, and then ever since then, pretty much I've had like two friends. And
It's
just
hard.
it's so hard. And then just recently, like
Mm,
literally very recently, uh, this guy that I knew from Karachi, he recently shifted to Islamabad. So now I have
mm.
three friends.
Hey, it's slowly building, slowly building.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you've passed that whole school and university stage, it's really different when it comes to making friends. No, because it's like in
Yeah.
work, like your colleagues aren't necessarily your friends. It's a very rare moment that like you'll meet them outside of work. It's such
You
a
also don't
different
want to because you
aspect as
see them every
adults.
day. You see them every day. Like
Yeah.
you almost
But we
don't
saw
want
everyone
to.
every day in school too. Like,
Yeah. Well, like I'm grown, bro. I can't do that shit no more.
yeah, fair. But it's just so different. I feel like you going through that in the first year of, even less friends and things like that, I feel like it's completely normal. I think
Mhm.
people forget how important proximity and connection that way is.
Yeah. And it's so hard to come to terms with that. Like I've always found it so hard to come to terms with because it was always like, is there something wrong with me? Like, am I not likable? Like, am I not fun to hang out with? Fuck you. I saw that. But like, yeah, it's hard to like reassure yourself that it's just like that's just how it is, you
Yeah.
know?
Because
So
adult friendships are a bit different than child friendships in that
yeah,
aspect, for
yeah.
sure. I feel
I
like the biggest thing for me now is like with my friends here, love them to bits. I have to schedule everything in.
bro, oh my god, so
My
so
Apple Calendar hates to see me coming. like the amount of scheduling I have to do 3 weeks in advance. Like we have to send our invites for things like a month in advance. Like
that's
if you want
crazy.
to hang
Okay.
out with like people, yeah. Like actually, like we had an Eid dinner last night. Like it was a
Uh-huh.
good like 15 to 20 people. Like it was so
Uh-huh.
nice,
Yeah.
but we sent those invites 3 weeks ago.
That's
And a
insane. Okay, it's not
reminder
that
on
bad
like
with
three
me.
days before. That's how it
It's
is
not
here. People
but
schedule
like
everything here
Jesus.
because then they're
No, I
not
guess
free.
for me it's just a phone call. But that's only in Karachi. Like
That's what I'm saying. In Karachi, it's like
when
that.
I'm
In
home, it's
Karachi,
like,
I go back
yo.
home and the same friends who I meet, the group, I'll call them. I'll be like, "Kya kar rahe ho aaj?" And then they'll be like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's do something." That's how it was with when Zed and I lived in the same city too. I'd call him. I'd be like, "What are you doing?" He'd be like, "I'll drive. Let's go somewhere." And then we'd go get food or we'd go chill or I don't know, go see another friend.
It
Basically,
was so easy.
it was low maintenance in that context of where friendships there were treated like familial connection. Ab mera bhai hai. Like, like he's my brother. I can call him whenever. I can text him whenever. When he's free, he'll pick up or he will go do something. That's kind of how it is. Over here, as an adult, the reason I feel it's different is because you have to reach a level of connection before you can even try to tap into that water. Because it's like you
Yeah.
don't know them from school, you don't know them from childhood, like you don't know
Exactly,
this. They
exactly.
have that wall, that boundary up, which is a bit
Yeah,
harder
because
to kind of take over.
it's not just like that from your perspective. Like they probably think the same way about you.
Probably, and then that's
Yeah,
just how it is.
exactly. Like they also do not feel that sense of familiarity, which is why like
Yeah,
it's not as easy or as casual,
yeah,
or at least it
yeah,
isn't that way for a relatively long period of time until you've either met enough or spent enough time together or quote unquote been through
yeah,
enough
pretty
together
much.
to sort of
Like I
break that barrier.
Yeah, like I'd say like my London friend who does that, like is Zara. But then there's that familiarity with both like I'd say brown, South Asian lifestyle. That community aspect is quite a big
Yeah.
thing anyways for
Yeah.
South Asians, as everyone would know. But then it's also that connection. We've lived together for like 3 years. Of course I can call her. Of course I can just call her and be like, yo. But genuinely, my habits, I think I don't know about this. I don't think this is a Pakistani thing. I think this is a Western thing. Whenever I call people out of the blue, they always ask, "Are you okay?"
Bro, and you started doing the same
And
thing
I
and
started doing
pisses
this
it
too.
pisses me off.
I
I'm
started
like,
doing this
bro.
too because he's just like, bro, can I not just call you and talk to you? Like, because that's what we used
Yeah.
to do all the time.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly. Because
not a thing
it's
here.
that's crazy, bro. That's actually so weird because No, she would always get concerned. This is recent. Like she'd always get concerned or like sound concerned when I'd call her or text her just out of the blue, and I'd be like, in my head, I was like, "The foot, can I not just text you or call you? Like, huh,
Because
what's
that's
with
how
the
they are here.
formality?"
You have to like
Yeah,
schedule it in, or you have to like text. You have to be like, "Yo, can I call you?" Or like, "Yo, are you
that's
free?"
whack,
Like,
bro.
there's three, maybe three of my friends here are okay with like the cold calling situation.
Cold
Just
calling.
three.
Girls just made it about sales, bro.
Sorry, man. I know we
Well,
weren't talking about career stuff this episode. We're not, but
yeah, we're not. Don't
you
worry,
know,
guys.
it just be lumen sometimes, and that's okay. But yeah, I think that still okay, fine. The Western way of things, the boundaries are still a bit different. But inherently, that connection, I think, when you're making new friendships in your 20s, is a bit weird.
It is, and like I think the simplest example of it is, or the most recent example of it that I felt was that on my birthday,
Mm.
um, I had two people to celebrate with because I
It's
did have no,
homely, it's cute.
because I did have I don't know that many people here, and
Mm.
it felt weird. It didn't
Mm.
feel the same, because I was in Karachi. Not that there would have been more people there, but also more than that, it would have been so familiar to me, you know. So yeah, friendships are a tough
So
one to crack.
that takes the while on the context of even when you move to different countries, you have to build a new community around you. You've been in a place for like, at least for you, what was it, like 20 something years? You've been in one city.
23 years, yeah.
23 years. And for me, it was 18 years. Now you move
Yeah.
somewhere else, you inherently have to start from scratch.
Yeah, and
That's
also,
what
like,
it
you're
is.
kinda playing catch up
Yeah,
to, like, everybody else who has that sort of
exactly. You're the
experience.
extra in that aspect
Yeah,
then.
exactly,
And
exactly.
it's a bit tougher now. At least, yeah, for me, I got a bit lucky on the context. If everyone's in uni, it's the same thing. Everyone's going through the same thing. But even now, it's like when building new friendships and stuff, whatever it be in the workplace, there's like the people who started way earlier than me who've already have that connection. And then it's
Um,
like me having to add on to it. Or the connection that I see of people in my jujitsu gym, like you actively have to like fit in somewhere in order to build those friendships now,
yeah,
because not everyone's going through the same thing anymore, because everyone's on their different paths, every aspect is different, people are more honest to their personality, there's less to relate about, which is why your actual bond matters the most now, because it's like,
so
okay, do we
true.
actually connect? Because we might have lived completely different lives, because now you're catching up on other people who have also lived 20 something years somewhere, and they
Exactly.
have a completely different life story than you might.
Yeah, so true, so true.
So it's just a bit different on that aspect. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's a bit weirder to navigate. And I feel like a lot of people in their adult age feel that same thing.
Yeah,
And that's why you have to, especially when you're outside of those spaces where you're just around a lot of people that you are socially meant to connect with, like in academic settings, etc. You have to actively make the effort to build friendships
very
otherwise
true,
and
very true.
actually move them outside of the space. Like, so my jujitsu gym, massive. I love a lot of the people there. They're all sweethearts. But the relationship is quite literally with most of them. You see them at the gym and that's about it. And then you talk
Mhm.
about everything, but you won't see them outside that space. They're
Yeah,
actively my jujitsu friends. That's kind of how it
right.
comes from.
That
It
is
took me
there's that association.
Yeah, it took me 3 years to build a friendship with one person outside. And Shika like comes and hangs out with me outside of the space. And we're like
Mhm.
normal friends, not just jujitsu friends.
Right,
Because
right.
it doesn't happen. People don't leave their comfort zones anymore that easily. Because it's like, oh, okay, we know each other from here, we know each other from there. It's maybe in an easier way to explain to everybody. It's like having a work colleague. We were like, oh, as a work friend, and like I really like them. They're super close to me, but only in that setting. You won't see them outside that setting at all.
So true. So then
Have you had experience with that?
yeah, for sure. When I first moved here, my first friend was a friend I met through work. I made through work,
Mm,
and how much we used to hang out and the things that we used to do and time that we used to spend together decreased very, very significantly, regardless of how hard I tried to sort of maintain that
mm,
level of momentum or activity that our friendship had, it just did not work because intrinsically we both sort of knew that we became friends through work, you know?
Yeah.
And then that sort of
It's a
really,
weird social stigma when it comes to
yeah, it
that. I
is. It
don't know
really is.
why,
It
but it
really
is.
is. So then, like, what defines community for you? Because I feel like community as a concept is extremely important. Um,
Yeah, man, I needed it at
and
least
I
over
don't,
here.
yeah. So, like, how did you build it? How did you cultivate it?
I'd say I'm even still building it, but I built my community through finding people who are ready to inconvenience themselves for you and vice versa. I feel like that's what community is.
That is bang on.
Nowadays, a lot of friends, a lot of people you'll meet, like, yes, you're building your circle, you're networking, you're doing all of this. They're not going to inconvenience themselves for you. And that to me is a big difference between a really good friend and just a friend. People who you actually
That's
care
so
about.
true.
Like, you can call that person at 2 a.m. crying to them, and like, it's fine because you have that connection of, like, okay, I've inconvenienced them from their sleep, but I know if they needed that from me, they'd do the same thing. And they're also okay with that. Things like that.
Right,
I have cried
right.
to Zed at 2 a.m. before.
More than once. More than once.
But yeah, basically,
Also cried
it's
in broad daylight
yes. I cry sometimes.
and during
होता
the
है, कोई बात
sunset.
नहीं. अच्छा बस हो गया.
Cool.
But yeah, like, it's building those kind of friendships, like the ones that I have to this day over here. Not talking about the ones back home. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
The ones I have over here, it took time and energy from both ends. And these people, there's still some of them who have certain boundaries and certain lines you can't cross. And it's like, don't call me after 10 p.m. I'm asleep type shit. Or like, you have to tell me 3 days in advance before you meet me type shit. I'm like, okay, bhai, I'll keep these boundaries. So it's a bit different, but then that also comes with different culture, etc., whatnot. It's just seeing who, if you're there in a tough time for me, I'm there for you back. And getting
Yeah.
that kind of unspoken connection with them. That's how I built
Understanding.
my community.
Having that understanding.
Yeah,
And
and it
no,
was
I
a lot of
agreed. I
trial
think,
and error. My
yeah, for
friends
sure. And
changed over the years.
that's the biggest thing that stood out for me and that I can relate to is that concept of inconvenience. It's a very simple example. But for
Hmm.
me, for example, it's like I have a friend who in Islamabad who no matter what, regardless of what he has going on in that particular day, whatever responsibilities or commitments he has, or whatever time of day or evening or night it is, if I am returning to Islamabad, he will be there at the airport no matter what.
That's so
And
sweet.
it's things like those that's what inconvenience is for me. That's what going out of your way is for
100%.
me, for somebody else.
Because
And
that's what that connection is built on. You might not even talk daily, but the
we
fact
don't.
that they care enough, exactly, they care enough about that. Like, even one of our friends back home does that sometimes for us, Essen. Like, but it's just having those kind of people. You don't talk to them all the time, khair hai. But when we're around, you're actually around. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, I am gonna push things out of my day and just be there with you.
exactly.
Which I have, alhamdulillah, from home. But over here, it took a while to build that for sure. And people are still building it. And it's still
Yeah,
changing
I'm still building it.
constantly. But that
I'm s-
just comes with being adult. Like, yes, people are busy, things change and whatnot. But then you really have to pick and choose the ones who you're like, okay, you can be friends with that person who's busy constantly or whatever. And if they're not putting in the effort, it's fine. Go to their birthdays, go to the events, say hi, hello. But then they're
exactly,
not the ones who you're coming like home to. They're not the ones who you're going to be sad with. They're not the ones who you're going to celebrate your milestones with that easily either.
exactly.
And that
That's exactly what it
changes.
is.
People need to inconvenience themselves more for their friends, I fear. I think that this whole
If
boundary
they
setting
care,
thing, hot
if they
topic,
truly care.
this boundary setting thing, love it, but also like too much. Oh, yeah. We don't need this many
I
boundaries.
agree. No, I agree. You really don't. Because then what's the point?
Yeah, because the whole point of like close friends and connections is a little less fucking boundaries so that you can actually connect. It's like
Exactly.
this whole like
Exactly.
fitting into everyone's schedule. It's like, bhai, then if everyone's put these boundaries, then what's happening? Like,
Why
how are
am I
you
like,
actually connecting?
yeah,
It's like if Zed has this boundary being like, don't talk to me after 8 p.m. I'm like, don't talk to me before 8 p.m. The conversation kab hogi? It's just
the
like,
math is
okay,
not mathing.
no, it's not. And it's just like, okay, what if I need to talk to him about something? Like,
Yeah,
it
bro.
just,
What if it's 7:59 and I'm in the hospital, bro?
shit. Guess you passed the boundary, man.
Damn.
So,
Damn.
a hot take, guys. I know it's if someone will be pissed off about this whole boundary thing, and I could sit and talk about it all the time because I've been around a lot of people who said, I set my own boundaries. वो तो पता है.
Boundaries
But
are not bad,
they're not bad, but
but
there's a level to
like,
it.
yeah, exactly. Like, and at one point, it's like, are they boundaries or is it just this wall that you're putting up because you're too
Because you
afraid to
don't,
connect?
or because you don't want to inconvenience yourself even a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like convenient friendships are fucked up. I
They
used to
are.
think they weren't that big of a deal.
Yeah,
Now
because
I
you're like,
think
oh, it's low maintenance, life is
yeah,
easy,
yeah.
whatever. But then it's also
I don't believe
superficial.
that anymore. I don't believe yeah, exactly. I don't believe that anymore. If you cannot be there for someone in their times of need, then you don't need to be there at all because that's when it really matters. One of my favorite things that I've ever been told, and this is sort of how I govern a lot of my friendships
Hmm.
and relationships as well, is that it's okay if you're not around for to celebrate someone's good times, but
Hmm.
it's not okay if you're not around when there's like bad times. I've completely mucked it up, but that's basically the crux of it. That you should
I like
always be
that.
there. You should always be there during the bad times, even if you're not during the good times, because that's when
Yeah,
they kind of need you more.
100%.
Like it's good to be able to share your happiness and your, for example, your milestones or achievements or anything.
Mm,
But it's better to be able to share your grief, for example, or
100%.
your
Now, of
struggle.
course, yes, there's boundaries on that. Fine. You don't really want to sit and be everyone's therapist constantly. We have been
Yeah.
therapist friends. We get it. It's a draining situation. But it's about the fact that the comfort and care you get from deep friendships, there is inherently going to be those kind of sad moments and good moments that come with it. And someone, if you can connect to someone during their sad moments, that's your like for lifer then, bro. Like that's
Yeah,
like as simple as
that's when
that.
you will not forget those people ever.
Yeah. Because
Like
that's what the building like your whole connection is based on.
yeah.
What do white people say in their weddings and stuff? No, for better or for worse or some shit like that. Yeah. It's like the same thing in that context. It's like, be around for the good days, but also be around for the bad days.
Yeah, and like I remember so I'm not proud of this at all and I do not condone it either. But when I back in 2023, I was in a life-threatening car accident, and my car flipped over 3 times and landed upside down on the wrong side of the road. Um, and I had 2 of my friends with me.
Mm,
Manal knows one of them, does not know the other. And, I feel like that was something that has forever changed, like, the way I see the 2 of them or my relationship with the 2 of them. Even though, like, one of them I hadn't spoken to for maybe, like, a year and a half until on the
mm.
day of my birthday. But then the other one is like, I will never forget that that happened and that we went through that and that we were there for each other, you know? Like, it's kinda like a blood bond at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's like at that time, me and Zaid weren't really talking. So I didn't know about this till way later on. But
Mm,
it's that like the inherent first feeling in my head when he told me was just worry. That's like I feel like that's when you are friends with someone, you hear something like that. You're not sitting there being like, oh, why didn't he tell me? It's like more of like, oh, are you okay? Like
for sure.
that inherent care and that first responsibility thing comes to your head because you have that connection with them. or whatever.
Yeah.
Can't speak for Zed. He blocked me when I had my
I
surgery
didn't
going
block
on. He
you.
ghosted me when I had my surgery going on. So
Listen, I didn't block you. I just archived you, okay?
archived me.
There's a difference.
But yeah, it's just those kind of moments and stuff. It does change your perspective. I feel like it probably changed your perspective in life in general more than just your friendships and connections with people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to ask you one more thing.
Okay.
This is something that I have definitely dealt with
Last
in the
question of the
past.
day.
Yes. And then we're just gonna leave everybody with this. But how do you deal with very, very serious changes in friendships? In the sense that someone that is extremely important to you, very, very
Mm,
close to you, that means a lot to you, they do something that
mm,
you did not expect them to do.
yeah.
And it is friendship threatening or social group threatening to
Mm.
like that level of
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. It
surprise.
has happened. I've experienced it before. I'm sure you're
Yeah, of
aware.
course.
But
Me, I
it's
did it.
kind. Oh my god, this
Bro,
one yard. It's
no,
his head. His head.
it
But
is.
but basically, it's there's things that you can come back from, and there's things that you can't, in my
Mm,
opinion. And I feel like everyone else has a different boundary and a different line to what is deep enough and what isn't, in my opinion.
right.
If someone is super close to you and you care about them and something happens, your first step is always talking to them about it, man. Like, there's nothing a conversation can't help you understand at least their mindset, or at least why the things happened the way they did, or at least what was the reasoning, etc. And it's kind of moving from there. It's seeing that inherently, is this a one time fluke? Is this something that is just part of their personality now? Are these things that will happen in a pattern or they won't? Like with one of like my ex friends, there are inherently issues with her pattern. Like it was repeated stuff which constantly happened again and again and again, which was pushed aside because of lack of communication. And there was a limit to it, which inherently threatened our friendship completely and stopped us from ever reconnecting again.
Yeah.
But then there are things like, for example, how Zed and I spoke about things earlier. There was reconciliation on that aspect, and now we're friends again. It's just also that willingness and understanding that, are they still matching my level in terms of how we're growing, or are we still seeing eye to eye on a lot of things? Because at the end of the
Right.
day, like, people are human, they do make mistakes, hota hai. Like
Obviously.
people
Obviously.
do fuck up, some people fuck up terribly, and some people fuck up a little bit.
But
So
how,
like,
what is their potential to come back from it, is what you're saying?
I'd say it varies on the intention based on what the situation was. If it's a
Hmm.
situational problem, there's always hope. If it's an inherent personality problem, there isn't. And when I was younger, I feel like as kids, we like, whatever friendships we make jab school mein hote hain, like you want to keep them. You're like, yes, they're
Yeah,
like my bestie
obviously.
forever. We tried so much. For me now, this is where my boundary comes in, where I'm like, I need to protect my mental peace a little bit more when it comes to someone inherently creating problems. That's where time is like your best friend. It's like, okay, I'll take a step back. We'll see. We can continue our lives on our own. And if there's a point that we reconnect again, great. That's about it. I feel like there's only so much that you can direct a person. I think it's like, yeah, there's an Urdu phrase. It's like "कुत्ते की दुम टेढ़ी होती है" or something like that. I don't know. Some phrase. It's like we're at this stage where everyone's like frontal lobe is developing and like everyone's an
Oh,
adult now.
yeah.
Like we're not kids anymore, right?
Yep,
You can't
exactly.
necessarily convince someone to change. It's just not
Oh,
happening.
yeah, for
It's
sure.
you can't. You're not
You also
I
can't
can
help
change
someone that
him.
doesn't want to be helped.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. I can change him. No, you can't, babe. Hoga nahi. Nahi hoga. So
No.
like it's like um it's in that aspect of like we're all adults now and we all inherently understand what we do and the repercussions of it accordingly. We're
Yeah.
not kids anymore. So that's where you come into that conversation of, okay, if they're just like this, like bro, then I don't need this around me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. That's kind of how a lot of my friendships over here, after the first year drama stuff with our last friend, I
My
haven't
special
had
friend.
drama. I haven't had drama as such with friends. Like, we handle this
Mhm.
stuff in adult ways. We'll have a conversation. We'll be like, okay, bro, you did this. I didn't like it. And they either apologize and we move forward, or it just ends there. And that's about it.
Mhm.
Makes things really easy, actually. Guys,
Good.
everyone should
Keep
try
it
it.
keep it
Communication.
simple. Keep it
Communication.
I agree. I had a pretty long sit down with a friend literally yesterday regarding this.
Yeah.
And this was exactly what the problem was. He
Yeah.
was making judgments and decisions based off of assumptions. And he went and spoke to everybody about me except for me.
um,
And it brought us to this point where it sort of built up resentment. And then it just came out in uglier ways. And all that we needed to do, all that we needed to be okay was just
talk.
to each other because I didn't even know what was going on. And then something just happened and I was just disrespecting. I was like, what just happened? Like, I was so
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah.
So, and then when I found out, I wanted to bang my head against the wall
Yeah.
because I was like, this was so avoidable
Yeah.
if you just spoken to me.
It's one of the inherent flaws of humans, I'd say,
Mm.
in general, at any
Okay,
point.
Aristotle.
Have to end on a philosophy timeline little bit, no? Little bit.
Lol. But
But
yeah, I
yeah,
think we've chewed your heads off
we've
for
we've got
long
we've
enough
gone
now.
pretty deep and we've spent quite a lot of time. But I do think the moral of this podcast is quite literally based on the factor that your close friends are willing to do more than you think for them,
That's
and
a
vice
very
versa.
good. That's a very good way to end it.
And
Yeah,
that's how you should be able to distinguish it between your close friends and your non-close friends, in my opinion, at least.
yeah. No, I second that. I agree.
Yeah. It's okay. We have our trauma bond and our connection also, no, guys. It's okay. Everybody does. Everybody has issues. You just have to figure them out whether you'll do it together or not.
Or just figure out whether or not you can be okay with them,
Yeah.
whether you
Even if
can
it
live
takes
with
two
them.
years.
I feel like there's been a lot of passive aggressive energy. I
It's
think you
okay. We
need
can
to
communicate about this later, Zad. We can
true.
communicate.
True. Yeah, but I do think you need to incense the fuck out of your room because what is this? Negative
I'm in the
energy, bro.
lounge. I'm in the
Negative
lounge.
energy. Yeah,
There's
crack a
no
window
negative
open.
energy, bro. No. I do love this guy. My mom
Yeah,
loves him.
yeah,
If my mom loves him, that means he's a good guy. I'll tell you that. She's
yeah,
always been
man.
able to spot my fake friends. Well, anyways, I hope you guys
Eh,
enjoyed this slightly deep, not so deep, different conversation that we had
yeah,
because I do think it's an important thing to talk about because it's another thing that we deal with in our 20s.
for sure. And there's so many variables, and there's
Yeah,
so
it's
much
just a
change
lot.
when it comes to friendships. Like,
Yeah.
especially when you sort of make new ones, it's so hard to know what to expect because
Yeah.
one thing that time does do, like the biggest advantage, I guess, with, for example, my oldest friends, like Manal or
Yeah.
a few other guys that are still in my life, um, they're predictable to me, and
Yeah.
predictability is comfortable. It makes it a
Yeah.
bit more
It's
comfortable. It makes
safe.
it easier. It's safe, exactly. And but then there's the newer ones, and then sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
something to think about then,
yeah,
guys.
like they kind of has your guard up. You kind of have your
Yeah.
guard up.
Sometimes you gotta go through that thrill, sometimes you don't. But
Mhm.
with that, we're gonna leave you guys to it. This was
Nice.
another episode of Your 20s in the 2020s. I'm Manal, this is Zed, and I hope you guys like this conversation. I feel like we're
Yeah,
gonna tap into this kind of stuff a little bit more as well. We
exactly.
don't need to talk about
Definitely.
jobs always, guys. The
We
J
want
word.
and we
It's too
want the J
much.
word. Oh my God. Yeah, let's just call it that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wanted to do something a little bit different, and we will continue to do so. I think
Yeah.
it would be a crime to limit our 20s and the 2020s to just our jobs. I think we'd be doing a disservice to what this podcast is all about.
Yeah.
So we will be tapping into several different things, and all I can say is, if you like our stuff, tune in and stay tuned.
Exactly. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Yeah, bye bye.